Greetings, whiskey folk, and welcome to the official Dram Association unbottling of whatever the hell this is, Kanekou Okinawan Whisky. Probably the weirdest whiskey in the store right now. I'm really looking forward to trying this. And it turns out that Leon's never had an Okinawan whiskey. It's a style of whiskey which I'm actually a big fan of, just because it's so utterly wild and different. So the vast majority of whiskey styles around the world can have their origins based back to Scotland and Ireland, right? Mm-hmm. Even bourbon to an extent, Japanese whiskey especially. Apart from this, because this is whiskey on a technicality.
Oh.
So
sounds intriguing.
Yeah, Ryukyu whiskey is made entirely from rice.
Oh.
And it's not. It doesn't have the standard brewing technique that would go into whiskey normally.
I think we tried to do a rice mash once at Shelter Point, and it was so bad they never wanted to try it again.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
So there's one thing that they do differently. I said they don't brew it like a standard mash. It's done more like sake.
Right.
It's done with koji, which is more of a type of a mold than a yeast, I believe.
Yeah.
So it is weird tasting. It is wacky, it is wild, it is completely different. It's technically a whiskey because it's distilled grain.
Thankfully, I'm very open-minded.
Yeah.
So I will try
as I know from that Korean one you
Yeah.
So I've got an extra gas because I actually have one of my favourite Ryukyu whiskies, the Kujira 10 right here. So you fill your boots with that, get to see what you think. I'm looking forward to the facial expression because it's like no other whiskey you will have ever had.
Okay. Is this the same concept then, this one?
So this is a blended Japanese whiskey that contains some of that style with single malt and with wheat whiskey, both of which you're much more familiar with.
Okay.
So I wanted to set your pace and see how much of an influence the Ryukyu style whiskey, the Okinawan whiskey, has on this blend.
So this is rice?
Rice, yeah.
Rice. Okay.
Twice as nice with rice.
With virgin oak influence.
Yeah. It's pretty pungent. It's a cheap screw cap, which I've now thrown on the floor. I'll just put that over there for safety. Oh, you got it? Nice. Landed the proper way up and everything.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Cool. So, Kanekou Okinawan Whisky. I would tell you the master blender's name, but I can't read the signature. What do you reckon? Sagamoto? Samjita?
Looks like Andrew Smith.
Yes. Yes. Let's see if the back
sure it's not.
Since 1846 is the oldest distillery in Okinawa that is producing this blended whiskey. As the oldest distillery in Okinawa, Ryukyu Island, Shinzato Distillery's legacy dates back to 1846 when a handful of families in 3 villages of Shuri were given the honor by the Ryukyu Kingdom monarchy to make the traditional local spirit known as awamori. As one of the appointed distilleries, the Shinzato family started their great quest to craft the best spirits for the ancient royalty under the name Kanekou, and it remains today the only operating distillery from that time. In 2019, Shinzato Distillery and its global partner Shin Group started a collective effort to make whiskey another legacy of the family. The 7th generation distiller, Naoya Shinzato, is a young and passionate master blender who takes traditional craftsmanship to another level that is both balanced and exciting, with the vision to reinvent a unique flavour that is true to Ryukyu Island.
Another level. I wonder what level that is.
2.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes. The underground one in Mario. Yeah. So, really interesting, as we were saying, style of whiskey. What do you think of that?
This reminds me of a 43-year-old single grain whiskey, which I picked up from A.D. Rattray.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
There is actually some super old Kujiras out there. You can get 30, I think maybe even 40, maybe not 40, but definitely 30-plus-year-old bottlings from that distillery.
And that's just on the nose. I've not tasted it yet.
Oh, you've not gone in for a taste?
Fair enough. Taste. Yeah. That exceeds my expectations, Adam.
Oh, wow.
That's enjoyable.
It's not bad, eh? Yeah. It's super weird and interesting. There's a sherry cask 12-year-old as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of sweetness there, a lot of honeyed notes. The virgin cask adds a bit of almost burnt sugar to it. And the rice, it's just a nice neutral base, I think.
Yeah. And it has this almost cheesy mushroominess, I think, probably
Mhm.
from the koji.
Mhm.
So this contains some Ryukyu-style whiskey with malt whiskey and wheat whiskey. So super interesting concept. Really looking forward to seeing how it balances out those wacky flavors from the Ryukyu. I did promise that if there was any Japanese on here that wasn't straight kanji, because it's been a while since my Japanese studies, I would translate it. That is katakana, and it says whiskey.
Oh.
Yeah, Japanese for whiskey is whiskey.
That's good.
It's easy to remember.
Do you know what pink is in Gaelic?
No.
Pink.
Brilliant. Shouldn't have fallen for that one, should I?
Yeah, they couldn't think of a word for pink, so they used the same one. I guess they didn't have a lot of pink in the Outer Hebrides back in the day.
No. Well, I mean, it's the same. A lot of countries, sorry, I'm going into my graphic design history now. A lot of countries didn't have words for certain colours because they would just call pink, for example, they just call light red. So orange is one of the most common.
Yeah.
And Japan, actually, they didn't have a word for orange until Western influences. Orange is orangey, because it was just like yellowy red.
Yeah. Is that where Glenmorangie came from?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Orange. But it's, I mean, if you think about it in the English language, isn't it strange how orange is such a common word that we always use, but if anyone's talking about blue, we always talk about like dark blue and light blue. We don't have a separate word for light blue, even though it's a very different colour. Like, we should really be calling it cyan.
Sky blue.
Sky blue.
Yeah.
Deep blue and sky blue.
Man City blue.
Yeah. Rangers blue or Man City blue? It is Rangers blue, isn't it?
Rangers are a bit darker, though.
Yeah. That's why I mean, they've got the contrast.
Yeah.
That's the two blues.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's no satisfying cork pot because, like most Japanese whiskies of this style, it is a screw top. And as is tradition in Japan, the youngest is pouring. However, I definitely should have poured for you first. I'm very sorry, I'm breaking tradition.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to pour your own glass either.
No.
I'm supposed to pour your glass.
Ah, well. Good job we're not in Japan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Kampai?
Kampai! Oh, ishidaya.
Konnichiwa.
Utsukushi.
Arigato. That's only 2 words I know. So.
Brilliant. You know whiskey.
Yes.
Oh, and beer is biru.
Biru?
Yeah, biru whiskey. That's all you need.
Chichipu.
Super dry. So this was distilled in October 2020. What a time to be alive. So obviously they weren't shut down. Yeah. I'm not really familiar with what was happening in Japan during the shutdowns. I know they were a little late to the game of closing things, but wasn't there the whole thing of a lot of people in Japan started believing that Japanese people couldn't get COVID? I remember reading that. That's wild. We're immune!
Samurai sword.
Yeah. Oh, that smells really interesting.
I think this one's got a bit more of the stinky feet thing going on. Maybe there's like extra cheese in this one.
A little bit of extra cheese.
More, was it kobu?
Koji.
Koji. Good.
Cool.
Cheesy.
So
it's probably go well with an applause.
A what now?
An applause. You know, like cheese that just basically crawls across the plate as it warms up.
Oh, yeah.
And it fills the whole room with this incredible aroma.
Yeah, that could work quite well. It's interesting to note that both of these are bottled at 43%. And seem to be in not quite the same, but almost the same bottle. Yeah, different shoulders.
I think I prefer this one on the palate to the nose. I think there's a bit too much funk on the nose for me, but the palate's like...
Yeah, the palate's weirdly more settled, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting flavours. It tastes ever so slightly like a slightly maybe too overripe pear. Like it's a bit mushy, a bit bruised.
Left in the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wasps
are at it.
Exactly. I love exploring these wild and wacky whiskies.
I think this whiskey, though, as you go down the bottle, that aroma might develop into something more like Dolly Mixture or something like that. You know? Maybe it's just when you first crack the bottle because it's
just been trapped in there a while.
Releasing its inner cheese.
Yeah. Just like when you first open a cheese. It's
yeah. You need to let it settle down for a bit. So
yeah.
this is probably going to be a good breathing bottle, I reckon.
I don't mind it though. It's definitely one of the whiskies I would recommend to people who want to try something different and interesting, and not necessarily recommend to people when they say certain styles that they're after, because there's not much like this.
I would say from the distiller's point of view, the cup may be a little wide. There's a little too much faints in there, and I think that's like adding to the slight blue diesel oil cheesiness there.
That makes sense. Yeah, and it's interesting with the whole rise of the Ryukyu whiskey style. Like it's mentioned in here, it's like 2019 was, I think, when they were really starting to sort of kick it up as a style. It's mostly because they actually the process is almost exactly the same as making the I forget the name of the traditional spirit that it's based on. It's basically that I think normally it would be watered down to around 30 or something, but you just water it down less, and technically you've got a whiskey.
Yeah.
That's why they've got like stocks of like 30-plus-year-old style of this, because they already had it. So
as shoju, would that be the traditional?
It's not quite shoju. No, it's I can't remember the term for it. Oh, is it on here? Is it awamori? Awamori. Yeah, they're a little different to shoju. Yeah, yeah, super cool version of the Ryukyu whiskey. And actually, I have to admit, one of the reasons that Ryukyu whiskey is a bit of a hard sell, aside from the fact that no one's heard of it and it's weird and strange, is the price point. Like the Kujira 10 is like, I think $300 or something wild. This is $100, so it's much easier price point to experiment with.
Yeah, no, I think it's worth experimenting with this stuff for sure. I mean, this is opening my eyes up to rice whiskey, which I didn't even know existed until about an hour ago. So,
yeah, rice whiskey that didn't just get poured down the drain.
Yeah. And I really like this 10-year-old one. This is fantastic.
Excellent. Well, Kanekou. A Kanekou. Kanekou whiskey available right now at Strath Ale Wine and Spirit Merchants. You can get it at strathliquor.com if you're not nearby. And if you are nearby, swing into the store and try it. $5 for a sample, unless you're a premium member, and then it's completely free. Come in, give it a try. Try before you buy. And if you do like it, it's 10% off. So about less than $90. Cool. Well,
this would be good in an onsen, wouldn't it?
It would. It'd be great with some pickled plums, maybe.
But you would have to get naked.
I'm all right with that.
Fine. Let's go.
Next video. Here we go.